The flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Moving on to public input, I see Tom Warman from St. John Lutheran Church is here. Would you please come and lead us in a prayer?
Thank you. Let us pray. Living God, our Creator, you are above all and through all and in all. We thank you for the blessings of this day and for the ways that you have blessed our community with its beauty and with its resources. And we thank you, too, for the blessing of each other. We pray for your guidance, your blessing upon this meeting. Grace our civic leaders with your spirit of wisdom, humility, courage, and peace, that they may promote the common welfare and hear the voices of all who reside in our community. Guide them in all of their decisions, that they may be faithful models of leadership for all of us. For to you belongs glory and dominion, now and forever. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Tom. Is there anyone else that would like to speak during public input portion of the meeting? If so, please come forward, state your name and address.
Joella Skiles, 112 Westfield Road, Pittsburgh, Kansas. I'm speaking in reply to an interesting comment that Commissioner Fields made at the last commission meeting regarding the committees and boards that are required to conduct the business of the city of Pittsburgh before it comes to the city commission. And he was expressing concern over the lack of volunteers. And I found that very interesting. I have always been, in my work life and after my retirement, very civic-minded, but I find I'm a little limited by where I live. But today, in the interest of replying to Mr. Fields, I downloaded from the city's website all of the job descriptions and guidelines for each of the 13 boards and committees that the city of Pittsburgh utilizes. And I found some interesting questions that I would like the city commission and or the people involved in those to reply to. First of all, I was wondering, how often are these boards, committees, etc., how often are these postings updated? And whose responsibility is that? Are the openings only posted on the city website, or do we use other means of advertising those openings? I was interested in all of the committees, and I'll speak to each committee, but only very shortly, and I beg the commission's indulgence. On the Active Transportation Advisory Board, they have 7 members, and 4 of them have to be actively involved in a particularly stated occupation or activity. Can the other 3 be outside of the city limits? Because it doesn't state that in the guidelines. Next, the Airport Advisory Board that you just filled a position for, there is no residency requirement listed in the guidelines, and I was wondering if the City Commission might want to visit that as to whether it should or should not be put in the guidelines and whose responsibility that might be. Then in the Building Code of Appeals, it lists very specifically the characteristics and the job requirements that you want for each of the members, and I certainly agree, because you want people on that committee who know what they're doing to guide the city of Pittsburgh. But I was very interested in the guidelines that there's no residency written there at all. Under the Downtown Advisory Board, again, it says 3 members serving at large with a vested interest in the downtown overlay district. Those 3 members, other than the 4 that are stated, do they have residency requirements? On the Economic Development Advisory Committee, there is no residency listed at all. So, again, I was just curious. On the Human Relations Committee, there is no residency listed. On the Land Bank of Trustees, there is no residency listed, and yet that board's responsibility is as an agency of the city with the primary responsibility and authority to acquire, hold, manage, transform, and convey surplus city properties and others. So I was just wondering about residency for that. On the Library Board of Trustees, they require all of their members to be a resident in the city of Pittsburgh. I found that very curious because I'm not a resident theoretically of the city of Pittsburgh, but I do use the library. So I was wondering why residency is important in that board more than others. And on the Memorial Auditorium Advisory Board, it says that they have 5 residents of the city of Pittsburgh and 2 non-Pittsburgh residents. And yet, when I looked at the list, I noticed that Mr. Seth Harley, who you appointed to his position on the Memorial Auditory Advisory Board, was not yet listed, and yet that was done about 2 months ago. So I was just wondering about the updating. On the Park and Recreation Advisory Board, residents of the city of Pittsburgh and those who live within 8 miles of 4th and Broadway are eligible to serve. That is the only committee that states that. And I could see why, because of course people outside the city limits certainly do use our parks and recreation, myself included. The Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals I found the most interesting because it says each serving a 3-year term, this board has 7 members, all of which are required to be residents of the city of Pittsburgh. That's the first sentence. The last sentence says 7 members must reside within the city limits, while 2 members may live outside the city limits, but within a 3-mile radius of the city. I'm not very good at math, but that adds up to 9 out of 7 members. So it just needs clarification. And the Sustainability Advisory Committee, again, there is no residency requirement. So I was just wondering if the City Commission and or the powers that be could address those seeming inconsistencies, and if they would consider advertising those open positions in some other venue in addition to the City of Pittsburgh website. Okay, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe Ellen. I don't know if Darren has all the answers to your questions tonight, but if not, could you come back maybe the next meeting and we get some answers for you? And I do agree, and I think Larry brought that up, that we need to advertise for these boards, positions that's open, other places besides the city website. Sometimes, like Larry said, I think last meeting, the first time we see there's an opening, we see it on our agenda. And just like you're saying, I think it needs to get out to the public that might be interested. And maybe we do need to take a better look at, just like you've talked about, what the requirements for these boards are. Maybe they need to be adjusted. I'm just saying. So I don't know if Darren can answer all these questions for you tonight, but I'm sure he would be able to have that information. If you'd like to come to the next meeting, we could talk about it a little bit.
Certainly shall.
Thank you. Is there any other public input? Seeing none, I'm going to close this portion of the public input and move on to, we have a couple proclamations tonight. So the first one is, could I have Angela Meyer, did I say that right? Meet me up at the podium, or up front. Make sure I get the right one here. All right. This is a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor of the City of Pittsburgh, Kansas. Whereas the Little Balkans Festival Association was established in September of 1984 to educate the public about the origin and development of the term Little Balkans. And whereas the festival has been held annually on Labor Day weekend since 1985 to pay homage to the region's history, ethic, diversity, and community spirit. And whereas hosting the annual festival would not be possible without the generous support of local businesses and volunteers who donate their time and products to make this event successful. And whereas under direction of Chairperson Angela Meyer, the 2021 festival spanned 10 days and included over 40 activities for citizens and guests to participate in. Now, therefore, I, Chuck Mansell, Mayor of the City of Pittsburgh, Kansas, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, September 14, 2021 as Little Balkans Day in Pittsburgh, and offer thanks to all festival volunteers and donors who continue to make this heritage festival a tradition. Thank you very much.
We actually have a group of the volunteers that are here, so if they want to come on up. Don't all do it at once. You won't get him out of that chair. Kim's back there too. So I'll let them introduce themselves and tell you what they do for the festival. There's a few other people in the audience that I couldn't get to come up here as well. But.
Oh, my name's Jeff Wilbert, and I try and do whatever Angela requests of me to do. That's it.
I'm Heather Meyer, Angela's mother. I kind of go along with Jeff, but I do the craft and the food vendors and whatever else I can work on with.
I'm Jasmine Kyle. I'm the director of the Southeast Kansas Humane Society. We were lucky enough to be included in this event to really boost the adoptability of our animals. And through that, we were able to acquire like 20 plus gallons of hand sanitizer, which we helped donate to the event.
And then Kim Vogel obviously does a huge part, and the city really pitches in to make this happen. Joella helped put our first annual walking tour together that was downtown, that we had a bunch of new events. At least 30 people attended every single new event. Dr. Sigley in the back had an awesome polenta cooking demonstration. So we really tried to reach where there was something for everybody this year. We really appreciate the city's report and the support. We have a ton of business sponsors. Every year that grows and gets more momentum. So this means a ton to all of us. We had a lot of volunteers who couldn't be here, but every year we're always looking for more people to help. Great new ideas, so please send them our way. We'd be happy to take it into account for next year's event. Thank you.
Could Mary Giplin please come forward? All right.
Hi.
How you doing?
This is Mary.
All right. I have another proclamation. This one's from the Office of the Mayor of Pittsburgh, Kansas. And this proclamation, whereas September 17, 2021 marks the 234th anniversary of drafting the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to accord official recognition to this magnificent document and its memorial anniversary, and to the patriotic celebrations will commemorate this occasion. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitutional Week. Now, therefore, I, Chuck Mansell, Mayor of the City of Pittsburgh, Kansas, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2021 as Constitution Week in Pittsburgh, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideas of the framers of the Constitution had in 1787 by diligently protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. Thank you guys very much.
We're from the Oceanus Hopkins chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and we are celebrating Constitution Week through schools. We do projects in the school. We get our proclamation. We have bells across America where the churches ring their bells on the 17th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then also we asked them this year to put in the church bulletins to say an extra prayer for our country, our servicemen and women, and anyone, first responders and all of that. So Constitution is very important to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are you done for this, John? Are you done? Yes.
All right, moving on to consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed for discussion from the consent agenda? I'll read it. Item A, approval of the August 24th, 2021 City Commission meeting minutes. Item B, approval of applications submitted by Ethan Ketterman for a 2021 cereal malt beverage license for the Pitt Express located at 302 West 4th Street, and authorize the city clerk to issue the license. Approval of appointment of Cheryl Brooks, Chuck Mansell, Dawn McNay, and Jay Byers as voting delegates, and Darren Hall and Tammy Nagel as alternative voting delegates to represent the city of Pittsburgh at the League of Municipalities annual meeting scheduled for October 9th through the 11th, 2021 in Topeka, Kansas. Item D, approval of the Pittsburgh Public Library Board of Trustees request to use $30,000 from the library building annuity toward the replacement of the rubber membrane on the flat portion of the library roof, with the work to be completed by Mid-America Roofing. And item B, approval of appropriation ordinance for the period ending September 14th, 2021, subject to the release of HUD expenditures when funds are received. Is there a motion to approve consent agenda?
So move.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Roll call vote.
Brooks?
Yes.
Fields?
Yes.
McNay?
Yes.
Mansell?
Yes.
O'Brien?
Yes.
Moving on, we have a special presentation. Summer Reading Program Summary. Pittsburgh Public Library Director Bev Clarkson will provide a summary of the summer reading program.
Good evening, Mayor, City Commissioners. Thank you for your time this evening. I'm Bev Clarkson, Director of the Pittsburgh Public Library. And before I got started, I thought I'd try to answer the question that you had during public input regarding the library board and residency requirements. It's because in order to be a member of the library board, it's a governing board, and you have the power to levy taxes. And so on residents of Pittsburgh within the city limits, so that's why they require living in the city limits.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, I am here tonight to give a report of the library summer reading programs and to give an update on library services. It's been a while since I've been here. You know, so much has happened since we've all been through the pandemic over the last year and a half. The library has changed, just like much of the rest of society during this time. We've been open for many months now. However, during the early months of the pandemic, when the building was closed, we had to change our service model drastically. We had to bring the library to our patrons. Rather than having them come to us, we went to them. So we began offering curbside pickup and bookmobile delivery to our patrons. And in some respects, we are really fortunate because we had ordered a bookmobile a year earlier, and it had just arrived before the pandemic. And I will say our bookmobile was paid for through foundation funds. So we're really grateful for our foundation. But having that bookmobile allowed us to deliver materials to anyone within the Pittsburgh city limits. All they had to do was ask. And so we used it and curbside pickup extensively during those months. We also used the bookmobile heavily for our programs, especially this last summer for our summer reading program. Both curbside pickup and bookmobile delivery have been proven so popular that we continue to offer them even as we resume our regular activities. Now, for our summer reading program, our theme this past year was Tales and Tales, which is an animal theme, just like it sounds. So we had lots of programs revolving around animals. During the summer, we often have 100 to 150 people attend a story time at the library at any one time in a fairly small room. So this year, due to COVID-19 protocols, we decided to do as many programs as we could outdoors. So I contacted Kim Vogel, a Parks and Rec Director, and asked to hold our programs in Lincoln Park this year. And she agreed. So we loaded up our bookmobile with not only books, but with a sound system and puppets and crafts and prizes. And we headed to the park on every Tuesday and Wednesday morning in June and July. And it was a lot of fun, and we had a lot of really good feedback from all our patrons. We also presented family fun nights in the park on Monday evenings in June, and we had programs like a juggler, a musician, and a petting zoo. We partnered with USD 250, and we took the bookmobile to schools that offered the summer meal program, and we offered the kids checkouts, and we gave them free crafts. We went to a different school each week. We also took the bookmobile to the farmers market on Wednesday afternoons. And in total, we handed out over 2,000 craft kits to kids over the summer, and lots of books were checked out. Older kids had the opportunity to attend free Greenbush programs at the library. Greenbush staff presented 4 programs each Thursday for kids entering the 3rd through 6th grades. They enjoyed an animal-themed program as well, things like reptiles, amphibians, insects. We also partnered with the KU Natural History Museum to offer kids a paleontology program. Teens served on our teen volunteer program called Volunteens and helped prepare crafts for our storytime programs. Teens were also able to sign up for their very own personal book box, which was created by our teen librarian. And each box had a personally selected book for them to keep, plus lots of handmade treasures and treats. Adults had their own summer reading program, plus they had book discussions and a poetry reading at Pritchett Pavilion. Overall, the library offered around 100 programs in June and July, with thousands of community members participating. So it wasn't quite our normal summer, but we were very busy trying to serve our patrons in new ways while keeping safety a priority. I would like to thank the city of Pittsburgh, especially everyone at the Parks and Recreation Department. You know, having so many programs in the park this year was kind of an enlightening experience for me. You know, we have a beautiful park system, and I know it takes a lot of work to upkeep it, but oh, it's worth it. You know, we had so many wonderful comments from our patrons, how much they enjoyed being in the parks. I'd also like to thank Greenbush for providing such great educational programs at the library this summer, and a special thank you to the John Perolo Trust for funding these programs. And always, as always, a tremendous thank you to our Friends of the Library volunteers. The Friends group pays for nearly all of our programs through proceeds of their book sales, and they make a tremendous difference to our library and what we can offer the community. And just as a reminder, the Friends are hosting 2 mini book sales, the first one starting this Saturday, September 18th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and it's going to be held outdoors in the library courtyard on the south side of the library. An additional sale will be held October 2nd, also 10 to 2. And we literally have tons of books to sell. And most of the books are 50 cents or $1, so it's a good time to come and stock up on your books. And finally, and most importantly, I would like to thank the Pittsburgh community, all the parents, the grandparents, the child care providers, for bringing their kids not just to the library, but to wherever we were this summer. The parks, the schools, the farmers market. You know, we've always had such tremendous support from our community, and I've appreciated it. but I've never appreciated it as much as I have during the last year and a half, and all the support we've received from everybody in the community. So a heartfelt thank you from everyone at the library to everyone in our community. Words really can't tell the whole story, so as we do each year, we took a little piece of video from each one of our programs, and we put it all together. So I'm going to show our summer reading program in 4 minutes. And thank you all so much for your time tonight.
Mr. Raisin, send up police in case it's not.
Oops, I don't think you want to watch it again. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bev. Moving on to consider the following. Item A, real estate contract, consider approval of a real estate sales contract between the city of Pittsburgh, Kansas and Como Jewelry Company, Inc., in which Como Jewelry Company, Inc. will purchase the property located at 525 South Broadway for the purchase price of $113,746.
Mayor, Commissioners, Chad, you want to come on up if you have questions? So, as you recall, we had a building that, I'm not sure how long, it's been here since I've been here, it was standing next to Brahms. The city acquired the property with the help of Blake Benson and his diligence, and we got a pretty good price. We had to pay for an appraisal at one point, and we had it demolished after an open bid process. The total of that cost was $113,746. It was cleared recently, and so we put up a big sign with my phone number on it because we don't have a real estate agent, and decided we would see where it went. And I've had at least 4 calls from people that were interested in possibly doing something with it, and I pretty much just told everybody, this isn't a land bank property, so this is something the city commission is going to have to take action on. You know, the land bank can move properties kind of through their own board. And so I just kept telling people, hey, if you're interested in it, you know, approach us. This is what we have into it. I think I was pretty clear to everybody that we had $113,746. Mr. Cuomo was the first individual to respond. I thought the most appropriate thing would be for just him to come in here, put his number out there. It's kind of a twofold process. Obviously, we want to make sure that the building, the lot becomes a usable building in Pittsburgh and doesn't just sit there, somebody doesn't take it and then just wait 3 years and try to sell it for a profit. So the first step, we thought once somebody's willing to put what they're willing to pay for it out there in public, it gets pretty dicey because you can't, at that point, start taking a bunch of bids against that. That's not appropriate. So really what we're doing today is asking for your approval to make this deal with Mr. Cuomo to sell him the lot, and he's here to answer questions about what he will do with the lot. And my idea would be that after we make this deal, he would come back to us with a development plan to tell you guys specifically what he's going to build, when he's going to build it. But I think his time frame speaks for itself, and so I'll turn it over to Mr. Cuomo. Thanks for your patience. And
thank you.
he's here to answer
Chad?
questions.
They told me to get close to the mic.
No, I just meant don't walk away from it.
Okay.
You don't have to lean in.
Thanks for your time and consideration. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you might have.
You want to give us a little bit of a description of what you're thinking about?
Certainly. What we kind of are in the early phases of looking at is either a metal or stick frame building. That's yet to be determined. Obviously, the facade of a fine jewelry store needs to look classy, and it will. It will have glass on the front and a relatively tall facade. I think the important thing that you guys would like to know is that what's really important to me is giving my parking lot a little bit of privacy with some trees. And so I think that you're going to see a property that A is attractive, but B has a lot of greenery that's associated with the front facade of that building. So that's kind of where I'm at this point. Had some preliminary talks with local commercial contractors.
Do you have a timeline?
Yeah, my lease at the Meadowbrook Commons ends September 30th of this next year. So the contractors that I've spoke to, both here in town, have assured me that they could have me ready by September 1 of this next year.
You'll be expanding your footprint?
I will be. Right now, approximately, I'm in about 1,850 to 1,875 square feet, and the new store will be about 2,400 square feet.
Any other questions for Chad? I do.
I don't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Patrick, that's fine.
It sounds to me like this is just exactly the kind of a thing that we demolish the building to have erected there, is to put in a retail operation and make the Broadway look attractive, and we thank you for that.
Thank you.
Brad, Chad, my question, how long you been in business? in Pittsburgh?
This is my 20th year.
20th year. I know I've been a customer of yours over the years.
Karen
And
thanks you.
Do what?
Karen thanks you.
And I tell you, I know you probably dealt with husbands during your 20 years that are in a fit because they short period of time to get something that their wife's gonna like. And I tell you what, Chad has come through every time I've been there. So I know,
Appreciate that.
just listening to you, Chad, I know you're gonna make that lot a very beautiful building. It's going to be an asset to the city of Pittsburgh. And I know you take pride in your building. And what I got to say now is not against you, but it's against people that own buildings for a long time. And over the years, their buildings fall in bad repair. And don't take pride in keeping their buildings up for whatever reason. So I didn't vote in favor of the taxpayers purchasing this building. And so I thought I'd explain it to you. It's nothing against you. I don't think it's the taxpayer's responsibility to be on the hook to property owners that don't maintain their buildings. We have ordinances on the books that if we follow and enforce, the buildings don't become dilapidated to a point where they have to be demolished. And not only this property, but we also have a property, took ownership of property on West Fifth Street. And that still eats at me because the taxpayers are on the hook for $180,000 for that piece of property. And once again, it's just because of business owners that don't take pride in their business to keep them up. And I know that's just me telling you where I'm at, but I do plan on voting in favor of you purchasing this property because I know you will take pride in it. You take pride in the city of Pittsburgh, and I thank you for wanting to continue your business in Pittsburgh.
You know, just to back that up one step, it's not just businesses that are
Exactly.
getting there. It's people who have rentals.
That's right.
Who other people who aren't taking care of their property. So it's you know, you can't just pick out businesses. You got to pick out the whole lot of them.
Well, I didn't intend to do that, Patrick. I do
No,
know.
I'm not admonishing you. I'm just saying that.
Right. And I think we're in agreement. We take care of property, me and Patrick and everybody up here does. And it's not even our thoughts to let the taxpayer take care of our property for us. So thanks for pointing that out, Patrick. Any other question for Chad?
No, I'm happy for him. And you're right, Chuck. It'll be a very nice facility.
Yeah, it'll look great in the middle of town.
Patrick, you wanna?
There's
If
no-
there's no
No other questions?
I move approval.
Is there a motion for approval? And Patrick, you've done that. Is there a
Second.
second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Thank you, Chad. Congratulations.
Thank you guys for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being
And
here.
thanks a bunch, Chad.
Moving on to item B, short form plat, RTM Engineering Consultants, Panda Express subdivision. Consider the recommendation of the Planning Commission / Board of Zoning Appeals to approve the short form plat submitted by RTM Engineering Consultants for the platting of Panda Express, a subdivision of the city of Pittsburgh located on the northeast corner of 27th Street and Broadway, southwest corner of Walmart parking lot.
All right. So I'm presenting an aerial map instead
That's
of
good,
the
so
short
people
form
can know
plat,
where it's at.
because this is easier to understand from home and up here. The short form plat was approved by planning and zoning, so just so we get that out of the way. This is the Walmart Supercenter parking lot, and that red box there is approximately where the Panda Express will be located, and those are approximately the boundaries of the short form plat.
Will there be any entrances, from Broadway to 27th Street, or will they use the existing entrance to,
The plan is to use the existing entrances. Matt Bacon could probably elaborate. I don't think there would be another entrance allowed to be cut in there on either side.
So this is a development of Panda Express Restaurant?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the current site plan that I've seen that they're working on, allows for a drive-through on the west side, but they're utilizing, there's no cuts into Broadway or 27th Street. So,
is there any requirement of parking at this business? How many stalls they have to have, or
They'll meet that based on the square footage.
yeah, yeah.
that come later?
Yeah. This is just the parcel.
Sure.
This is not the site plan or.
Any other questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, final plat, S&H Management LLC, Dean's Edition. Consider the recommendation of the Planning Commission / Board of Zoning Appeals to approve the final plat submitted by S&H Management LLC for the platting of Dean's addition located at the northwest corner of Jefferson and Rouse.
So again, this is the final plat to the Dean's Addition here, the Pittsburgh property. Nothing had changed from the preliminary plat that was previously approved. Just to see an overview there of the Pittsburgh property, it is, that's where it's at.
And just in case somebody missed it, could you tell us who S&H Management is?
Well, it's Harvey and his wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Seeing none, there's a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
I second.
it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Item D, Vacation Hometown Development Group LLC, Miller Street. Consider the recommendation of Planning Commission / Board of Zoning Appeals to approve the vacation request submitted by Hometown Development Group LLC for the vacation of Miller Street between South Joplin Street and South English Street.
Okay, so as you can see on the map up here, the portion outlined in red is the vacation request. That is a street that essentially, I don't know, it doesn't go anywhere really, except for through that lot. So the idea is to vacate Miller Street to provide more space on that south side to be able to build. I'm not sure exactly what their plan is, but they needed that street vacated there to build.
Who is
add more
Hometown
space.
Development Group?
That is Nate Stahl and Barnett.
So this is so they can develop some housing there, is that what we're looking at?
My understanding is the grass area there, they plan to put, I'm not sure if it's gonna be duplexes or
Okay.
what they're planning, but based on their setbacks, they needed into Miller Street there, for parking requirement. And that was approved unanimously by planning and zoning.
When we vacate something like this, we don't get any compensation for it, is that correct?
No, and the street will split in half. So whatever's there, it will split right down the middle. The north side will go to the north property owner, the south side will go to the south. And then they'll be responsible for if they're gonna take it out or whatever they're gonna do with it.
Well, you will reduce maintenance.
Yeah.
You won't have to maintain.
Yeah, cost savings.
Matt likes that.
One half block at a time.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
If there's no other questions, I move approval.
There's been a motion to approve, there's a second. Been moved and seconded for approval, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Quentin.
Yep, thank you.
Non-agenda reports and requests. Item A, a bi-monthly budget review. Director of Finance, Larissa Bowman, will provide the August 31st, 2021 bi-monthly budget review.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Joe Wimmer filling in for Larissa this evening. Going over our bi-monthly budget review as of August 31st. So we are 2/3 through the year, or 66.6%. Revenues continue to come in strong. Year to date, we're 11% up from last year in the same period for sales tax. We will get our fourth property tax revenue distribution next week. Expenditures are on track where right where we expect them to be at this point in the year. Our unencumbered cash balance to start the year, we were at 8.5 million, and to end August, we are at 21.4. So year to date, our revenues are up 3 million over our expenditures. So we are right on track, and I will stand for any questions.
Are there any questions?
You don't see any bumps in the road along the way?
I don't think so.
Good.
Thank you.
Sounds good, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other non-reports and requests? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Would you want me to respond to the,
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. If you had,
I mean, unless you want me to wait 2 weeks. I don't think the answer's gonna change much, but perhaps, so Joelle, that's quite a list. I think I tried to take notes, so bear with me. I think the general comment I'll make at the beginning to your, one of these are posted as they become available. So obviously, we try to get most of the boards to renew, I think, at the beginning of the year, but Tammy takes care of most of that scheduling for us. I know we do put on the website. I don't know if we actually run ads in the newspaper. She's shaking her head, we do. So, I mean, we take this serious and we try to advertise, but as you know, with most things, it's, you're at the mercy of the public to respond and try to be engaged. As far as the list of boards, as I ran through your notes, basically the easiest way that I can see through this is there's a lot of boards that have been around for a long time, and most of those boards had a residency requirement to them. Some of the newer boards, the Sustainability Advisory Committee, you mentioned, that's a new board. I don't think that, I couldn't find any new boards that looked like they had residency requirements unless it was specifically, something like you brought up where, the EDAC is a unique board. It's old, but it's also dealing directly with the sales tax, which is why I think there's probably a residency requirement tied to that. But the general comment is, every one of these boards is different. They're all established at a completely different time, and they were established for a specific purpose, usually during a specific set of circumstances. I think what I would say is, I'm trying to see where you had questions. Your main question was, is there a residency requirement for, like, say, the Airport Advisory Board? For every one of the boards, if it doesn't say that there's a specific residency requirement, then I think it's safe to assume that there's not.
Okay.
So I know I don't want people to have to assume a bunch of stuff when they read our code, but we're kind of at the mercy of, we're not a new city, so a lot of these things have been around for a long time. I would, if you think there's a board that needs to have a residency requirement that doesn't, by all means, let us know and we can look at it. I'd rather not go through and overhaul every originating document for every board we have. I think we're in a pretty good place. But I do think, in the case of the Planning Commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals,
Thank you, that's what I was going to speak to.
both of those two, we say there's a 5-2. So I don't know what you're reading, but if you get with me after this, we'd be happy to clear it up. And if we need to fix some conflict that we've got in some of our stuff
Yes,
on any of these, we'd be happy to do it. So, but I think in general, we've got to appreciate that they were created at a certain time by a certain board. The one board I know that we have that doesn't have a residency requirement is the City Commission, or does have a residency requirement. But the rest of them were put in place at different times, and they just have different rules. But we'd be happy to amend any of them or change them if you guys think we need to. But I don't think it makes sense to have one set of residency or not for every board we have. I think every board is unique and has a different set of purpose.
Well,
Okay, that's it.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
I mean,
No.
yeah.
is that okay?
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're really supposed to come back to public input the
Okay.
next time.
Or, or Joella, you can just get with me
Yeah, just get with
anytime.
Darren.
Well,
I mean,
that
it's
that
a
was
lot
my
easier to
only
do this.
question on the Board of Zoning Appeals is the way it's stated. It literally accounts for 2 more board members than you have.
Yeah, I know, and the city attorney just read something to me that showed it both said 5-2, so that's where there's a conflict, and I don't think, I mean,
'Cause I just
unless you're
copied
dying
this-
to have it figured out right this second, let's just get together and fix it, and if we need to take action, I'd recommend that at the next meeting. Do you-
Well,
Okay.
I was just saying that I copied this off the city website today, so.
That's what I mean, we're just humans, if we've got a mistake somewhere, we'll clean it up, but it's 5-2 for the public to understand that it's 5-2 for both of those boards, and if we've got a mistake, we'll fix it.
Okay,
Thanks for pointing all that out. Does that get to most of it?
yes.
All right, thanks, Joella.
Well,
Does that suffice for the commission?
I move to adjourn.
I second.
Well, what do we move and approve? All in favor of
Oh, no, we're stuck here until Chuck comes with me.
of adjournment, I think you're talking about? Say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.